That Christmas morning, I awoke to a deserted house for the second year in succession. My entire family traveled off to Paris without me. I shed not a single tear. I then dialed the movers. Just 3 days later, they began screaming. You know, there's a moment that rips through your entire life, when the people you love most show you exactly what you mean to them, and it's not who you thought. For me, that gut-wrenching realization hit like a freezing wave on Christmas morning, and it changed everything. My name is Kevin. I'm 34. I'm the oldest, the steady one, the guy everyone calls when the printer jams, a tire pops, or a bill needs paying. I used to run a small toilet paper manufacturing company. Glamorous? Hell no. Profitable? Oh, absolutely. I sold my stake last year, took a break, and for the first time in a decade, I allowed myself to be unemployed without a hint of panic. Still, my brain didn't get the memo about vacations. I woke up at 6 a.m. sharp every day. But this particular Christmas morning was different. I woke up to an empty house for the second year in a row. No coffee mugs clinking, no stray pine needles from the ridiculously over-decorated tree my mom loves. Just silence. And my breath fogging in the cold kitchen. The blinking light on the thermostat, the one that always needs new batteries, seemed to mock me. Out of habit, I checked our family group chat. Blue bubbles, a whole chorus of them. Wheels up. Paris, here we come. A photo popped up. My mom, wrapped in a white scarf. My dad, flashing a boarding pass. My sister Lauren, rocking a ridiculous red beret, you know, for the bit. My brother Matt, doing this forced smolder like he was auditioning for a toothpaste commercial. All of them, grinning from ear to ear. Behind them, rows and rows of economy seats. And not a single one for me. I scrolled back, frantically, to last night. Nothing. No Merry Christmas, Kev. No, drop the spare key with the neighbor. Just nothing. The kettle clicked off, and the quiet suddenly felt heavy, suffocating. I just stood there, staring at my phone, willing it to apologize, to explain. But it just sat there cold. Then, my dad's text popped in. Timestamped, 4:17 a.m. Don't be dramatic. Flights were tight. You're fine. I typed, deleted, typed again, my thumbs shaking. My messages came out small. You left without me. 3 dots. Then my mom. Kevin, we discussed this. Lauren had a bonus seat from her miles, and Matt needed the aisle for his knee. You hate long flights, remember? We'll FaceTime from the Eiffel Tower. Be grateful. It's Christmas. I could hear her voice in that text. Sweet on the surface, but razor sharp underneath. Lauren chimed in. We thought you'd be busy. Job hunting, networking, you know. My hands were shaking. I put the phone down. All I could hear were the words from last year. The same tired routine. Next time, Kev. You know how it goes. I walked into the living room. The stockings were still hung by the chimney with care. The one with my name on it had been emptied early. A folded note stuck out like a tiny, aggressive tombstone. Kevin, can you please cover the utilities this month? Paris was a stretch. We'll settle up in January. Love you, Mom. My throat went tight. Love you. Funny. It felt less like affection and more like a sticker slapped on a box of demands. The house hummed around me like a big, polite stranger. This was my house. My name on the deed, my mortgage, my repairs. But on Christmas morning, it felt like a waiting room I wasn't invited to sit in. I didn't cry. Not then. I just sat down, the note clutched in my hand, and my mom's last words to me echoed in my head from the night before she left. Make sure the driveway is salted. The delivery from Williams-Sonoma is coming at 2. Everyone will be gone, so just handle it. I whispered to the empty air, handle it. And then, from somewhere tired and cold deep inside me, I heard my own voice answer back. No, a minute later, my phone buzzed again. Dad, don't forget to put the rent check in the mail for Aunt Jo. She's counting on you. I laughed then. A wrong sound. It started like a cough and turned into a decision. I made a cup of tea, watched the steam fade. Then I stood up, picked up my phone, and dialed. Not them. Hi, I said when someone answered, my voice steady now. Merry Christmas. Are you taking bookings for the 28th? I need a full pack in store. 3 bedrooms. Yes, from this address. 3 days later, they were screaming. I wasn't always like this. For a long time, I used the words my family fed me. You're so responsible, Kev. You're our rock. Of course, you'll help. It's what family does. But let me be clear, I'm no saint. I picked a boring product, toilet paper, and built a company during a global panic. I got lucky, and I worked like a mule. I know spreadsheets better than I know my own neighbors. When things took off, I didn't go buy a yacht. I paid off my student loans, bought a modest house with a decent yard. Then my dad's company downsized. Mom's hours got cut. Lauren's grad school tuition ballooned. Matt bought a truck with payments he somehow didn't understand. One by one, they all moved in with me for a bit. My place had the space, and I understood money. The first month, it was sweet. Taco nights. I fixed a cabinet door that had been crooked since I bought the place. Mom called me her hero every time I replaced a light bulb. By month 4, I was carrying 4 phones on my plan and a family of adults who treated my pantry like community property. Lauren took over the home office. My program's online now. I need the bigger desk. Matt put his free weights in the dining room and swore he'd move them. Right after my cut day, bro. My dad started leaving folded 20s on the counter with little notes. For the water bill. Thanks, champ. The water bill was $160. The $20 sat there like a bad joke. I told myself it was temporary. I told myself I could handle it. I told myself I was lucky to have them. The worst thing about being the capable one is you start to confuse being needed with being loved. We had house rules. Simple stuff. Tell me before guests stay over. Don't put random subscriptions on my card. Return the car with gas. They told me those rules were tight. Then they kept breaking them. The first big break was the family card. It started small. A grocery trip here, an Uber there. Then I saw it. Flight LAX CDG, $1,278.98. My stomach went cold. I texted the group. Hey, who put a Paris flight on my card? Lauren immediately responded. I needed to book before prices jumped. Chill, you can afford it. I'll pay you back when my scholarship hits. Dad chimed in, she will. Don't be petty, Kev. I replied, I'm not petty. I'm asking. Mom, it's for Christmas. We need joy. You work all the time. Let us have this. I didn't say no. I just moved money around and told myself not to be the Grinch. Christmas came. They packed. They forgot my name on purpose. Oh, you hate long flights, remember? I didn't hate long flights. I hated feeling like a wallet with legs. They went. I stayed. I salted the driveway. I kept the heat at 68 because our bills were already stupid. I fed the neighbor's cat because that's just who I am. I watched a movie alone and tried not to look at the tree. When they came back, I drove to the airport and picked them up because it's closer for you, Kev. They brought me an Eiffel Tower keychain and a receipt for duty-free liquor I apparently owed them for because it came to your card anyway. My mom hugged me and whispered, "You're such a good son." The next year, same thing. Only louder. They took my points. They upgraded themselves. They left a list. Water the tree. Turn on the outside lights at dusk. Bring in the packages. The packages were monogrammed robes, truffle oil, and a set of copper pots my mom had wanted forever. The invoice had my name on it, because of course it did. Things escalated between holidays. Matt borrowed my truck and backed into a pole. He propped the bumper with a piece of wood and told me, "It's fine, bro." Lauren accidentally signed a 1-year lease for a co-working studio and used my card for the deposit because the system saved it. Dad began talking about expenses with the tone of a man discussing the weather. Mom started calling me ungrateful if I took more than 5 minutes to answer a request. Can you co-sign Lauren's new laptop? She needs the big one. Can you Venmo Matt? He'll pay you Friday. Can you cover the property tax this year? And we'll pay you back when the market rebounds. My house stopped being my house. It became a hotel I paid for, where the guests complained about the towels. The worst was when Mom announced at dinner, like a toast. Everyone, Kevin got a huge payout from the company's sale. We are in good hands. I choked on my water. I hadn't told them the number. I hadn't told them anything. She smiled and tapped her glass. Don't be mysterious, Kev. Family shares. That's how we survive. I said, that's not how sharing works. She gave me a look like I'd just told a dirty joke in church. Dad cleared his throat. No one's asking for a handout, son. Just some family-level support. Lauren rolled her eyes. You're acting like you're poor. You're not. I said nothing, because every time I said something, I was negative. Then came August, with its oppressive heat and the smell of someone else's microwave fish always lingering. I reached for the almond milk and found a bright pink sticky note on the carton. Kev, don't touch. This is Lawrence. We discussed boundaries. I stared at the note like it was a small, screaming thing. I stuck it on the fridge door, right next to the calendar where Mom had neatly written Paris, December 22nd to January 5th in glitter pen. Under it, a bullet list, travel insurance. Confirm hotel. Call Kevin about airport ride. That night, I sat in my car, listening to the engine tick as it cooled. I was that engine. I was a machine wearing out. I brought it up at Sunday dinner, thinking maybe I could reset the tone. I want a timeline, I said. For moving out, for paying me back, for stopping the card. Forks clinked. A great, gaping silence. Then Mom laughed like I'd just told a tiny, unfunny joke. Oh, Kevin, you're so dramatic. We're family, Dad said. Don't bring money to the table. It's tacky. Lauren, I'm in the middle of a program. Matt, I just signed a lease, Jim sighed. Timing, bro. My hands were clenched. My jaw hurt. I said, I am serious. Mom set her fork down slow. Well, if we're talking serious, you don't have a job right now. You should be grateful we make the house feel alive. You would be lonely without us. Lonely. That word they used when they meant compliant. I told myself to wait. Christmas was coming. Maybe they'd reset. Maybe they'd remember I'm not a customer service line. They didn't. On December 24th, at 11:58 p.m., a message lit the screen while I was wrapping a single gift for myself. Socks. Because I needed them. Mom, forgot to mention, we moved your stocking to the mantle so it would look balanced in photos. Don't touch the pine cones. Driveway at 4 a.m. I wrote. Please, I wasn't invited. No one wrote back. At 4:22 a.m., I heard the garage door rumble. Suitcases rolled. Laughter. Keys in the bowl. The door clicked shut. On Christmas morning, the house was empty. My head was not. So, I called the movers. I didn't call them in a rage. I called them like I call the plumber. Calm. Facts only. 3 bedrooms. Label everything. Family room is mostly theirs. Nothing in the basement goes. That's mine. The woman on the phone said, we can be there on the 28th. That worked. When I hung up, I opened my laptop. I made a list. Remove family access to cards. Freeze the household Amazon account. Change the Wi-Fi password. Switch the smart lock code. Call the bank about the joint checking they bullied me into just for household stuff. Schedule a locksmith. Draft a letter that used legal words and no apologies. I wrote out the numbers I'd put off looking at. Utilities for 12 months, $5,642. Groceries, $8,311. Car insurance on the extra vehicles, $2,190. Property tax I paid alone, $9,774. Random treats that just happened to hit my card, $1,650. Lauren's co-working deposit, $650. Matt's emergency vet bill for a dog he found on Craigslist for 3 days, $312. Flights, always the flights. 2 Paris trips, $2,557 plus $2,842. I wasn't angry. I was quiet. And inside that quiet, something clicked into place. I printed it all. I stapled it. I wrote a cover page. This is not punishment. This is a boundary. I put their names at the top. I signed mine at the bottom. Then I texted the family chat. Me. We need to talk on the 29th at 10 a.m. at the house. Mom, we're in Paris, Kevin. We have a schedule. Museums, tours. Me. The 29th is fine. It won't take long. Dad. No drama, son. Don't ruin the trip. Lauren. If this is about the Wi-Fi, I can't fix it from here. I changed the Wi-Fi name to not an ATM. Petty maybe, but it made me smile for the first time in days. On the 28th, the movers came. Blue hoodies, polite, efficient. I pointed. I helped. We packed Lauren's wall of ring lights, her velvet chair, the vision board that had me listed as a financial partner. We boxed Matt's weights, his blender with dried protein cemented to the blades, his gym bag that smelled like grief. We cleared the guest room that had somehow become my parents' second closet. We left notes on every box with names. When the truck pulled away for storage, the house inhaled. Space returned. I opened windows and let the cold strip the rooms of stale air. Then I called a cleaner, then a painter, then a locksmith. At 9:45 a.m. on the 29th, I set 3 stacks of paper on the kitchen island. I made coffee because I'm not a monster. At 10:10, a car screeched into the driveway. Doors slammed. Voices rose even before the key scraped at a lock that no longer recognized them. Kevin, Mom's voice was thin and furious. Why is my key not working? I opened the door. She pushed past me, taking in the blank walls. Where's our stuff? I gestured at the table. Sit. She didn't. Dad stormed in, cheeks windburned, scarf still around his neck. What did you do? Lauren filmed me on her phone like I was a wildlife sighting. Matt cracked his knuckles. I stayed steady. I packed your things and put them in storage. Here's the address. The first month is covered. Mom's mouth fell open. You're joking. No. Dad jabbed a finger at the island. This is illegal. It isn't, I said, and slid him the letter on the top of his stack. Notice of termination of license to occupy, 30 days issued, effective January 1st. The words felt heavy and correct. Lauren said, you can't evict family. I can end an arrangement that never had an end. Mom swatted the papers like they were flies. You are ungrateful. I am tired. Matt laughed, humorless. All this because we didn't take you to Paris? Grow up. I looked at him. All this because I was erased in my own house. Dad shoved the numbers page back at me. We would have paid you back. When? I asked. Silence. I turned the cover sheet around so they could read it. I read it out loud, because I needed my own ears to hear me. This is not punishment. This is a boundary. Mom sat down then, eyes bright like glass. We're your family. I know, I said. That's why I waited this long. The argument stretched like a rubber band. It didn't snap clean. It wobbled, whipped, stung. Why now? Mom asked, her voice pitching high, making herself small and fragile. Because that usually works. Because you left me here on Christmas, I said. And because you keep calling theft sharing. Lauren scoffed. It was Miles. Not theft. Who's Miles? I asked. She didn't answer. I slid an envelope toward each of them. Receipts, bank statements, a calendar of every time they'd used my card with a highlight on holiday seasons. Screenshots of the Amazon orders they swore they didn't place. A photo of the sticky note on the almond milk. Look at the dates, I said. Look at the totals. Dad flipped and flipped and flipped until the flipping itself sounded panicked. You kept track. He said it like bookkeeping was a betrayal. I kept track because I needed to see it. Mom pressed her hand to her chest. All this paperwork, on your mother, on your own mother. The way she said it could have been a spell once. Today, it was just a sentence that bounced off a wall I had finally built. This is simple, I said, my tone plain. I am ending the house as a hostile situation. You will pick up your boxes from storage this week. You will not live here anymore. You will not use my cards. If you need help, you will ask in advance, in writing, with a plan. And I get to say no. Mom's eyes went flinty. You think you can control us with money? No, I said. I think you've been controlling me with your need. That made Dad bark a laugh. Listen to yourself. You sound like a therapist on TV. I sound like someone who's done subsidizing adults. Lauren tried the back door, as if the kitchen arrangement was a magic trick with a trap door. She rattled it. This is insane. You changed the code while we were on vacation. Yes. She held up her phone. I'll destroy you on TikTok. Okay. I said, because I had run out of fear. Matt was pacing. So where exactly are we supposed to go? You want your mother on the street? No. I said immediately, because that image stung. You'll go to Aunt Joe's for a week. She offered me her guest room last summer. She likes company. After that, you'll rent, like everyone else. So you already talked to Aunt Joe? Mom said, her voice low, betrayal thick. I did. Yesterday. She squinted. What did you tell her? The truth, I said. That I need you out. That I'm not your bank. Dad pointed at the island. And this itemizing us like a budget? You think we owe you that money? I think you owe me respect, I said. The money's a mirror. He went quiet. It didn't last. You've always been like this, he snapped. Counting. Keeping score. It's ugly. I blinked. You're confusing counting with boundaries. He leaned close. You'd be nothing without us. I felt my jaw loosen. I let the sentence sink like a stone in a clear pond, then vanish. I ran a company that paid your mortgage for 2 years, I said. You're welcome. Mom tried a new angle. Soft. Kevin, sweetheart, you've changed. I had to, I said. Staying the same was killing me. Lauren's phone vibrated. She stared at the screen, her face shifting. Our access to the family prime is gone. Yes. And the Amex. Yes. Matt cursed. I have a drop tomorrow. I need that card. That's not my problem. He made a sound like a door hitting a wall. It was never a problem when we needed you before. I know, I said. That was the problem. They tried every trick in the family book. They made themselves victims. We're homeless now, thanks. They inflated my sins. You're abandoning us. They minimized their decisions. It was just a flight, relax. They weaponized love. After all we've done for you. They offered deals. If you let us reset, we'll do chores. We'll pay utilities. Deals they'd offered before and never kept. I didn't debate the history. I didn't pull out facts like knives. I just nodded. I repeated the rule. You can pick up your boxes this week. You can't live here anymore. Finally, it changed shape. The fight burned out of them and left a different heat. Fear. What about New Year's? Mom asked small. We always do fondue. I'm going to a friend's. You don't have friends, Dad said automatically, then seemed to hear himself and winced. I do, I said. I just didn't have time for them while I was busy being your everything. Lauren's filming slowed. She lowered the phone. Where are we supposed to put the boxes? In a place you pay for, I said. Matt looked at me. Something like calculation moving behind his annoyance. So what? You want us to cut you off too? No holidays, no calls, no visits. I exhaled. I want to have a family I want to see. If that's not you, okay. If it is you, we can try again. But not like this. Mom took my hand like she used to when I was small and scared of loud cars. We'll do better, she said. We'll try. I nodded. Trying begins with leaving. She let go. I hate this version of you. I love this version of me, I said. And I believed it. They left in a pack, a knot of wounded pride. The front door clicked, and the house exhaled again. It sounded like relief. I sat at the island and drank cold coffee and traced the line of sunlight on the floor. My phone buzzed. Aunt Jo. Good. About time. I'll make up the pullout. Tell them I'm waiting with cookies. You come by later. I saved you a piece of pie. Merry Christmas, kiddo. I laughed then. A real one. That night, I took down the tree. I put the sticky note on top of the trash, so I'd see it one more time before it went. I turned off the outside lights and stood in the yard long enough to feel my fingers sting and go numb. A clean kind of hurt. The next morning, I woke up at 6 a.m., because I still do. I made eggs. I ate them at the counter with the newspaper spread out like a quilt. The house was quiet, but not empty. It was mine again. In the days that followed, small things surprised me. The laundry basket stayed sane. The sink held exactly one mug and one plate. The thermostat battery light stopped blinking because I fixed it immediately instead of adding it to a list of 100. I opened a closet and didn't have to fight a cascade of stuff that didn't belong to me. People noticed, too. The neighbor waved and said, "Quiet over there, huh?" I nodded, and we shared the smile of two men who had finally replaced a loud fan. I accepted a coffee invite from a friend I hadn't seen in months. I took a long walk without my phone, just my keys and a hat. The world didn't end. On the 31st, I got a photo from Aunt Jo. Mom and Dad at her kitchen table. Lauren curled on the couch. Matt on the floor with Joe's old terrier in his lap. Everyone looked small and tired and present. The caption read, "They'll live." I sent back a heart. Then I silenced the chat. Then I went to my friend's place, toasted the year with cheap champagne, and told people the truth without apologizing. I kicked my family out, I said. They didn't gasp. They asked if I was okay. They made me a plate and saved me a seat and didn't require me to pay for anything just to prove I belonged. I slept through midnight for the first time in years, face down on a couch that smelled like oranges and pine cleaner. Safe. Boring. Good. A week later, Mom asked to come by to talk. I said yes, and kept the door locked until the bell rang. She stood alone on the porch, hands in her coat, eyes raw from winter. No phone, no speech. We sat at the island where we always fought. I wanted my body to learn. We could also talk there. We did our best, she started. I know it wasn't easy. I know you keep records. I keep people fed. You also kept me on the hook. Silence. The fridge hummed. I didn't realize, she said. You did, I said soft. You just didn't want to. She exhaled. Something in her dropped. I thought you'd be proud to be needed. I was, I said, until that was the only thing I was allowed to be. We didn't fix the family in one kitchen talk. But she did something real. She slid an envelope over. A cashier's check. It didn't match my spreadsheets. It didn't even cover half, but it was something. I sold the copper pots, she said, cheeks hot. They were heavy anyway. Thank you. Aunt Jo told me to bring cookies. I forgot them. Next time, I said. Next time, she looked up. If there is one. On my terms. No surprise guests. No back door. No using my card. You come when I say yes. You leave when I say I'm tired. She nodded. Okay. She glanced around, like it was a new house. It's quiet. It is. Her hand touched my arm. Light. I don't hate this version of you, she said. I'm afraid of her. The other me. The one who kept pushing. Me too, I said. We can retire her. She laughed once. We hugged. Stiff. Learning. After she left, I made tea and opened my laptop. I applied to 2 jobs I actually want. Operations at a boring company with benefits, and logistics for a nonprofit that buys diapers and TP for shelters. I like keeping people warm and clean. I just don't confuse being useful with being used anymore. The family chat still exists. Quieter. Matt asked for the storage code. I sent it. He said, thanks. Lauren posted a photo in a public library workspace. Free desk. Free heat. Then I hate you. An hour later, JK. I didn't reply. Not everything is a conversation. Aunt Jo calls every other night to ask if I've eaten. Sometimes yes, sometimes cereal. She tells me to buy soup. We trade simple recipes. Heat thing in pot. Once a day, I say it out loud, the line that feels like a spine. I don't let people use me. When the house feels too big, I sit at the coffee shop with a notebook. Lists. Groceries. Chores. Boundaries I can flip like switches. On the way home, I'll buy batteries for the thermostat before it needs them. Prepared now for me, not for someone else's crisis. Tonight it snowed. The yard is white and quiet. I stand at the window until my tea goes cold, then make another. Somewhere a kid laughs. A car door shuts. Inside, the heater kicks on. The house hums. It knows my name now. This isn't revenge. It's air. This isn't punishment. It's a boundary. And for the first time in years, it isn't a wall. It's a door I finally learned to lock and unlock from the inside. What about you? Have you ever had to draw a hard line with your family or with people you love? What did that look like for you? And how did you find your way back to yourself? Tell me your stories in the comments below. I'd really love to hear them.